So, top of the morning, people. Top of the morning. It's a cold one, 14 degrees out here. But hey, anyway, let's get it going. I want to talk about, as you saw the thumbnail, what happened to this story of Jade Cargill being attacked. And Bianca Belair and Naomi doing this investigation. All we ever get is, I'm still trying to find out what happened to my girl, Jade, and this and this and this. Then they went on to become tag team champions, and then all of a sudden, you don't even hear anything about it anymore. And Jade is just pretty much out of action. Now, I don't know what happened to Jade. I don't know. I heard injuries. I'm not trying to dig into the woman's personal life and find out what really happened, if at all. The way this story is going, here's where what I mean about elementary style storytelling. First of all, we know that it's all a work. We know it. But here's my thing about it. If Jade is out this long due to an attack, a physical attack by another wrestler, and this is something about wrestling that I always got turned off by. Don't you think somebody would, in real life, press charges? Because if the attitude, let's think about what is at stake here. You didn't get attacked, you didn't get injured in a wrestling match in the ring where someone did something, and even like say after the match the person attacked you, which is still, in wrestling we're used to that. But if someone attacked you and hurt you bad enough that for you to be going this long, that's pretty serious. That's pretty serious, right? And the fact of the matter is, this wasn't even a match. This was a backstage attack that nobody's trying to find out, right? Even, Nick Aldis, we're investigating, we're going to make sure we find out what happened. We're going to get to the bottom of this, and who's talking about it anymore? So what's going to happen? Maybe upon her return, right before all of a sudden everybody wants to know, or what, Jade just pops up one day. Like, this storyline is so weak. This is what I mean about long storytelling. This is what I mean about things becoming repetitive and people running out of ideas for the story to progress. It's just more story, but what? Ignoring it isn't going to make it any better. I mean, wouldn't it make more sense to see Jade, Naomi, Nick Aldis, I mean, think about it. Now, mind you, they're all employees, right? So that's like where you work. Something happens, someone attacks you, or no one's trying to really investigate to find out what's going on. And being that this is part of the storyline, the investigations need to take place on camera. I think it's very lazy if one day Nick Aldis comes out to the ring or a backstage segment or however they do it and say, well, we've been working tirelessly trying to find out who did what. We just can't figure it out. We can't find, we haven't found the person yet, or whatever. Or let's say they say that they found the person, but it ends up not being the person, or whatever. Like the same old when these things happen. There's no way that there should not be an investigation going on camera. That people can see that, hey man, they're trying to find out who did what to Jade, and to give to keep the story alive, because I really won't be shocked if Jade just pops up one day and that's all of a sudden now. And what's so stupid is, like, a couple of weeks ago, Naomi sent out a tweet to Jade, and the tweet said something like, girl, what's the number? People said I'm not family, or something to that effect. And it's like, really? Really? Because one way you look at it is like, you either broke character, right? Or two, you just wasn't thinking. Or three, you can't say it was leaked. I mean, this is on your X account. You know what I mean? So if you put something on your X account, that means you posted it for all to see, right? So it's like, what was the purpose of that? This story is so dry that I don't understand how people watch these storylines and I read the comments, and this is why I say it's like, is it like a bunch of children like in these comment sections? Because the thought of this being grown adults, which more than likely that's what it is. Oh, this is so interesting because, like, you know who I think it was? Like, we went through that, like, you know, a couple of months ago, who we think it might be, and the story is just dry. No one's making any effort to do anything about it on screen. No one's doing anything about it. No one's saying anything about it to make you really, you know, keep interest in it. At this point, you probably have people so bored of the story, they're just like, it's so irrelevant that they're just like, all right, Jade, just come back, just forget the story, which is BS. Why start a storyline in the first place if you're not going to finish it? So when you have these dramatic, long stories, long feuds, and you have situations like this where something took place and it causes you to be out of wrestling this long, nah, no, and that's why I say, you know, when you see companies doing things in a different way, their version of storytelling is different. You see these old school people, these people that's so caught up into the way things used to be. You know, it's like that's all they know. That's why they have a problem with the way wrestling is done now. But my lack of interest in what wrestling is doing now, it just got to the point, like I said, the characters just don't pop anymore, man. The characters are not playing to their strengths. Like I said, you have a guy that's jacked and huge, and he's in there being out chopped and out punched and out kicked by some little 175-pound guy that looks like a freaking golfer or something, right? And like things of that nature where it just like the believability. We know that it's like we know movies are not real. You know what I mean? But when you see a good punch or kick thrown in a movie and the sound effect and everything is right, and it gets your attention. And this is what I'm saying. Like for me with wrestling, things like that. You know, it's just certain things. But this whole long storytelling type of thing. You see, the thing is, people look and say, well, if you don't do that, it's not going to catch on with the fans. See, the fans are used to blah, blah, blah. And that's why I say that's part of the issue, is that people don't want to accept something that someone else is doing. And in fact, with all of the complaining, like I tell people, it's not about, look, I'm going to be honest about what I do and see, okay, how I feel about something. I'm not going to just say something just to say it. What I'm saying for people that just like you have people that just make rant videos, like that's just what they do. Nothing's good. Everything that they see is just it's I have to complain about it, and that's not what this is about. If you start something, finish it, and we're trying to understand where this story, like what happened to it, and in fact, let's look at it this way. Don't you think that the Monday Night Raw debuting on Netflix would have been, hey, this is one of the stories that was supposed to lead to something big, right? Because people are expecting a Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair feud out of this at some point in time, right? In the near future. So don't you think this would have been the opportune time? But they did other things, and it's not like you have to take. No, we don't need a 22-minute segment on Jade and Naomi trying to figure out who did what. But at this point, what I'm saying is, how many wrestlers that are in the WWE that it takes this long to do an investigation? So that storyline of her, they could have did something different, but they went with what they went with. Now, my thing is, we can say, well, I think they could have did this. So we can get an idea off of what they've done, and it can be 10 times better than what they actually did. And the thing about it is, the fact that they went this route, it wasn't well thought out. That's why I compare a lot of these type of situations to the Black Scorpion situation, because it was going well until the final, to the actual match where it ends up the Black Scorpion is Flair. It just like, wow. It just took the air out of everything when it was Flair, And even during the match, like I said, I'm like, this guy is smaller than Sting. The Black Scorpion that we saw looks bigger than Sting. And he looks shorter than everything. It just was, Flair, come on, man. Like, nah. Okay. And so that same feeling, this is exactly the point what I'm saying. You when a story is incomplete, it's like you put all of this, you thought of this storyline, and this is what you gave us. And like for this particular situation, at this point, man, it's like all of these wrestlers are involved in different things. So all of a sudden to bring Jade back and now they found the culprit or however it's going to go. I mean, it's bottom line is in terms of the story, and for people that say that they watch the WWE for the story, okay, well, you must be really disappointed in this storyline then, because there's nothing happening at all. Nothing. There's no mentions of Jade, no mention, nothing. It's like it never happened. And if they do this lame thing, like one day all of a sudden they're having a backstage segment, and all of a sudden, Bianca or Naomi have this shocked look on their face, and all of a sudden the camera goes over and Jade is standing there with her arms crossed staring at the both of them, and they go into the whole no phone calls, no visits, no nothing, while I was in the hospital, all this kind of stupid stuff, and WWE have done storylines, like for example, when AJ Styles just left New Japan, they didn't want to mention TNA at all, but like I've seen wrestlers come from other, like they were at particular promotions, and they'll say something like, this guy hasn't wrestled in over a year. No bullshit, he was over in New Japan, or he was over in CMLL, and we've seen it. So it's like, why do you insist on insulting people's intelligence, trying to make it seem like this wrestler just sat home for a year and a half and didn't do anything? No, they've done this with different people, and it's always like the storytelling just gets to the point where it's like, just tell them anything. That's the way I see it, because if this is supposed to be the writing and the thinking of professionals, I don't see where this is something where any real thought was given into it. And this is why I say I don't care how much they think the fans, and I feel like they insult our intelligence often, okay? And this is another perfect example of it, man. This storyline is dry, and where is it leading to? I guess we'll find out. That's all I got for you guys right now.